Hey everybody! Welcome back to Amberland. It's been a long time. Eh, yes, very, very excited to be back. It's beautiful outside. I am going to squeeze this bad boy in before I go to work. That's what they said. What? And so, yeah, as you can see, I'm still on my bullshit and my shenaniganery. But yeah, it's March, which means it's all about the women's. Happy Women's History Month. I know there's going to be International Women's Day coming up soon, but all of March is Women's History Month. So a history of bunch of women who are rad. Also a lot of tragic figures, especially when it comes to being black, cause yeah, but at the same time, there's a lot of heroes with and without capes. So, speaking of, shout out to my fave currently, Nika. Thank you, girl, for keeping me right in a pandemic, even pre-pandemic. I mean, honestly, just a special shout out to her. I'm not gonna give her a full government, but I will plug where she works. Is a Bellame, Belleame, I think, or Aime. It's French, but yeah, it's Bellame in JC Studio, which is in Ansley Mall. So yeah, she is a great barber. When I used to have the Grace Jones high top fade cut, I was definitely going to her, and I tried a few barbers out too, but she was always my fave, and she always kept the fades tight and right. And I've the day it was actually the election day 2016. I remember because I'm like, yeah, we're going to get a first female president, even though I don't really like that one, but yay. And I was like, well, let me get my hair cut. And then I woke up the next day and I was like, okay, cool. And then the next 4 years was very so many words. It was very so many words. So it is a good but I'm glad that it's I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying. I mean, people are getting the vaccines. People are getting a lot of hope. My dad's one of them. He is a veteran, so shout out to the VA. They hooked him up, got him a vaccine, and then he got him a new car. It was a good day for Poppity Pops. Shout out to you, love you, Pops. But I have been pretty angsty and like the past couple of weeks. The reason I've been wanting to record and then I just get kind of caught up and I'm like, man, and then I was just drained from just work too. But I'm like, no, I can't allow my job to drain me. I can't allow my job to, and by the job I mean just like working, when I'm not working for myself. I'm not saying it in a negative sense where I wake up and I don't look forward to it, because there's been times where it's been a struggle, but I'm just blessed to be employed. So by that I mean I'm not going to allow the obligatory part of my life to, because work is an obligation. If you clocking in, clocking out, it's an obligation. That's the bottom line. But it's an obligation that has an incentive. There's a reward in the end. Money. You get paid. So it's Friday night. Shout out to Johnny Kim. Rest in peace, bruh. But yeah, job is obligation with an incentive. But, and like I said, it could be worse. I've been in situations where I hated my job and I just did not want to. I just didn't feel like working. But this week it was just one of those things where I'm like, man, I haven't been doing like projects or anything in the past. Like even in the last year, I haven't seen a lot of my comedy homies since some I haven't seen since winter of 2019. So because the last show I did was February of 2020, and it was so this week, I guess because that just passed, like the 1 year anniversary of me performing last in person. I kind of got emotional. Carl Thomas, right? I got my turtleneck sweater and I was all up on the bed like, oh, I'm hurt. Or oh, I recently quoted this movie, Strange Wilderness. I always think of Jonah Hill's character when he makes fun of the really nice guy character who he was wearing this blue shirt and he was playing a guitar and he was like, "Oh, look at you, man." He's like, "Look at you wearing that blue shirt, man." You're like, "I got this blue shirt because my heart is sad." And I was like, that was kind of how I was feeling. I was like, my heart is sad. I haven't been creative. But yeah, I don't know. It was getting to me, but thankful and grateful for my faith and spirituality. All the signs start coming all this week, and the week's not even over. If you're listening to it in the next few hours, it's Thursday. If you're listening to it tomorrow, it's Friday, which is payday. Yay. But it's really cool because I ran into some people I haven't seen in a while. Like I used to work at this theater, and it was just cool seeing them and catching up because it was actually that theater I was at. It was the last time I performed. I don't know. It's Village Theater, yeah. So we're there by the Pencil Factory Lops. I worked there for 2 years, producing the show, a monthly show, Ladies Night. Shout out to my former co-hosts Mike and Chris. Hope y'all doing well. But yeah, I ran into some people that I hadn't seen since I ran that show, and it just was like we just started catching up. I was like, dang, I really missed that shit, and it just reminded me, oh, that's hella things I could be doing. There's hella people I could be collaborating with. So there was just a good reminder that, oh yeah, just reach out, bitch. But that felt good, and then also very, very stoked to it will be more details later, but right now I will say that next month I will be I was just thinking, I was lamenting to a homegirl who also does comedy. I was like, man, I really miss doing my shows. I need to do a virtual girls night out. I've been lacking on that, and I just been bummed, and I feel like I've just been like the people who were big fans of girls night out. I need to reach out through them via email, and then just do all kinds of things. And then I was like, I am still skeptical about doing stand up in person, but I have so many mics. So, and I got this, hey, what up? And I hear there's mic condoms too. So it's like all kinds of ways to figure it out. And the space that I saw is very open. So I just look forward to trying it out for the first time, man, because I really fucking miss it. I miss doing that shit. I miss going to work and not being fazed by shit because I was just constantly working on my other stuff. Like I had a show I was working on. I was writing a set list, checking emails, booking people. Like I miss that, and I feel like that's going to be coming back soon. Like I have to do it because I miss it, and people. I mean, I'm just like trying not to cry about this because I'm really, really touched that people are still reaching out to me and remember that I'm funny. And because I was right at it, man. I was right at the gushy part where I was right at a point. I haven't toured yet, but I was right at the point where I was going to, because I have been traveling to other cities and I've done well there in those cities. So I was just getting at that point. I was like, let's keep going. And boom, pandemia. And now we're all trying to figure out how to still make it happen. And I just I'm on that side. I'm back to doing the productive shit. So keep your eyes and ears peeled. Speaking of stand-up comedy, I just saw a really great documentary about one of my faves ever, and one of the best that everyone's. And everyone else's favorite. It even says your favorite comic's favorite comic. He was definitely. People put him on their personal Rushmore of comedy. So, but I saw the Killing Is Easy Patrice O'Neal documentary, and it was really, really good. I really enjoyed it. I'm glad that they interviewed the people that they did. They've interviewed his fiance. She was with him for 10 years or 8 years, something like that, and he was a stepfather to her daughter. It was good to see that side of him that I never was I mean, I listened to him through Black Phillip podcast, and then some of his stuff. I mean, of course, the web junk thing, which was easy to watch him do. But I also watched him do. I did see him do some tough crowd stuff. I also saw him do something similar to tough crowd, like because that was back when VH1 always had those comedians with their hot takes. It was right before social media was starting to take over as hot takes central. It was pre hot take central in the social media. And they always had, VH1 had these like little pop culture series, and Patrice O'Neal was always involved in them, and he always enjoyed his comedy in that. But then when I saw Elephant in the Room, I was like, yeah. And it was, I didn't know he was from Boston. I didn't know he was from Roxbury at that. And the story about how he and his friend got, I mean, it wasn't even fit the description. They were just searching for any black dude and roughing him up because some white woman was raped. And so they were trying to find the suspect. They knew it was a black man, and he was involved. I mean, he was part of that racial profiling, and he got roughed up. It was not okay. And and so that became the basis of a lot of his jokes. One of my favorite he does is about littering, how he doesn't litter because he don't want to one day just drink a tea, like, all right, boop, and then it falls down and lands right next to this lady who's just been murdered. And so now my fingerprints at this white lady's murder scene. Of course I didn't, I'm not even going to try to deliver like Patrice O'Neal because his voice is actually higher pitched than mine. Shout out to my homie Sean, called me Ben Stein one day. I was like, "You okay?" To someone, it was like the driest, and yeah, Ben Stein is a good. I used to say Steve Wright, but Ben Stein is way drier, and that is me. And so, yeah, somehow people find my black ass funny, my black dry ass. Wait, no, that don't sound right. I'd use that shea butter. See? Look at the crevices. Ooh, actually, no. I don't like how those look. Sometimes I feel like my hands look like sharecropper hands. Shout out to y'all. But shout out to y'all who got out of that shit, too. But, like them Sojourner Truth hands, like, I've been trudging along my journey. My last name is North. I was telling my homie Sabrina, I was like, Amber North, man. It's like it's like oppressor in the front and the black liberator in the back. North Star, Father Drinking Gourd. No, just me? All right, whatever. All that to say, Patrice O'Neal, he's great. I mean, I appreciate comics like Patrice O'Neal because, like, one of the first jokes he opens up with Elephant in the Room is about how, like, how it would be funny if black people were slave owners, and it's just, so it's comics like him, comics like Dave Chappelle, comics like Paul Mooney, of course, Dick Gregory, which I know I'm not as familiar with. I learned about him later once I got into comedy. But yeah, even Richard Pryor early on, though they showed me that it is possible to say some, boundary crossing type or line crossing or boundary, whatever. But, he's not even crossing, but towing the line, and, just towing the line of entertaining and trolling, pretty much, and I really appreciated what Patrice O'Neal said, because that's exactly how I feel when I did stand up. It's like, I'm not here to entertain you. I want you to feel enlightened when you leave, and along the way you're gonna get some chuckles, because I'm just so happen to be compelling and funny. No. So I tell the most long-winded stories, so I had to figure out a way to get my point across in a succinct manner. So But even still, I can't even do 5 minutes anymore. I used to, when you start out, you do 5 minutes. It seems like the longest fucking time. And then you start doing headline shows, you're like 30 minutes. Oh, okay, 45 minutes. Oh, shit. And then you try to do 5 minutes again. It's like, I ain't even started off my premise. I just been crowd working. Shit. That's one thing I miss that the virtual comedy shows haven't really helped with filling the void. Not that I want them to, but crowd work has been, because that was the one thing I struggled with, because, and I feel like that's something that a good stand-up comic should or ought to have in their arsenal. I feel like a good comic ought to have in their arsenal good crowd work, because you just never know how the fuck an audience is gonna interpret your set. I mean, towards the the last 2 years of me doing stand-up comedy, I didn't even do it. I did like jokes that I know that I'm going to plug in because I know they're going to work. But when it comes to trying to do a new set list, I never really had the same set list. It was always different. And so I'm just too high to remember. But yeah, I have the jokes that I know that will work. And then I would have like maybe 3-4 minutes of new material. Well, instead of just writing that out as a set list before the show, I would see how the audience is beforehand and seeing how they're accepting other comics, and I would just be like, oh, okay, and I just base it off that. So really looking forward to that. I do miss that. And what I loved about the Patrice O'Neal documentary, it made me so nostalgic of doing stand-up comedy. Just seeing the different comedians outside of a club, shooting the shit, talking shit about each other. But they're Patrice O'Neal and Robert Kelly, Bill Burr, I did notice that they didn't really mention Louis C.K. I don't know if he wasn't a part of that circle. I just know that Bill Burr respects him. So I don't know if he was left out because of the shit that went down, or they didn't fuck with you. I was very intrigued though, because that was definitely Louis C.K.'s scene. I mean, especially Robert Kelly, because Robert Kelly, he played his brother in that episode. Oh, it's one of my favorite ones. The Bang Bang episode where he and Louis, they're like Chinese food, Indian food. They're like pizza, Indian food, burgers, fried chicken. Like they were doing different type of cuisines back to back. And they're like heavy, and it's a good episode. But anyways, I was just intrigued to wonder if he was left out on purpose, or if it's just they didn't cross. I don't know. But yeah, y'all should definitely check that out. It was really, really solid. I should have mentioned that before then when I was talking about my job, but yeah, I was talking about the movie Waiting, because I remember what it was like when I used to feel that way. And I realized that I've been having those types of moments lately. And that's what made me realize, oh, you haven't been releasing. Because when I do stand-up comedy, I don't even talk about my job. So that's what's been... And so lately I realized I've been doing nothing but roasting my job, because that's the only thing I've been exposed to lately. And I'm realizing, oh, well, there's a lot of things to roast about about working in restaurants, because people are way worse now in the pandemic. You thought them niggas was bad then? Shit, hold on to your tits, because them niggas worser. Yes, worser. So... And I haven't been, and it's been a year since I've done stand-up, and yeah, I do enjoy my podcast, but to be able to finesse it in a way to still, and it was good to have that balance. So very much so looking forward to regaining that balance, because yeah, it's like I just can't let work consume. And that's a message to all my creators. Do not let that shit consume you, because it's so fucking easy to, whether you're the service part of it or you're doing the cooking. It's like it's always some hierarchy of fuckery that involves restaurants. And just keep your head up, man, because these niggas gonna always try it, and you just gotta be like, look, this is not all that I have to provide to leave an impact in this world. I am a creative, and I have other things that's going to keep me afloat, to keep me from cussing all you goofy niggas out. So, but yeah, so Tiger Woods, yeah, my heart goes out to you, bro. He was, he had that comeback, and then, I mean, I think he was about to do a PGA tour. I mean, he was, and then he was on his way to meet a friend. It was, yeah, whatever. It was a lot that happened that day. It was February 23rd. It was like, what, Tuesday? I think it was, yeah. And, yeah, it said that he went down a winding hill, and then he crossed over the median into oncoming traffic. So it was like, so it was just so much that happened that he escaped. Like, there was so many different ways where he could have been just hurt way worse. He rolled over several times and crashed head on into the sign welcoming residents. So, like, imagine, it's just a Tuesday afternoon and it's bright and sunny, and you see all that and you hear that commotion, and it's right into the welcome sign, like, hey, welcome to Sylvan Hills or whatever. And then Rolling Hills, that's what I meant. That's what it's called, Rolling Hills Estates. So this is like, yeah, super broad open space, very well. It was not secluded at all, is what I'm saying. And so the front of his car was crushed, and so were his lower legs, and he had open fracture. I had to look up open fracture. There was like so many words I had to look up. I was like, oh, so he broke his bones and there was skin that was exposed. Got it. And so the neighbor called 911, and the officer said that he found him coherent and alert, but in shock, and like he knew his name, but he didn't know the extent of what had happened. So, but they're saying that he wasn't drunk or under influence of drugs. So, but it was, no one else got hurt. He was the only one that was hurt. When I saw the headline that said that his injuries were not life-threatening, I was like, holy shit. What about, so is it career ending? But they haven't said. I mean, I don't think he'll play for at least a year. I mean, but Alex Smith, though, he came back in 2 years, and he plays the toughest sport. And so if Alex Smith can come back from what he came back from, who almost, well, it wasn't just the broken bones and open tears and all that was fucked up with Alex Smith. He also had this bacteria infection that almost led to an amputation. So, but yeah, Alex Smith is now the person to look at who's like, yo, it happened with him, so maybe for him. So, heart going out to you, Tiger. And my heart goes out to because Tiger Woods, he is part Asian, and my shout out to all the Asian and Asian American people who have been going through all the bullshit hate crime. It's been going on for over a year too, and it's still rising. It's still like they're still going through shit, and like an 86-year-old man who was just minding his own business walking, and someone just pushed him down and blamed him for corona. It's just, so they're really trying to target Chinese immigrants and Americans, and it's fucked up. And I'm sure a lot of them were with us for Black Lives Matter protests. I just say we all got to stick together when it comes to being any minority in America, or any minority period. But because at the end of the day, white supremacy is going to always be the leading oppressor. 100%. It is a global phenomenon. You got people lightening their skin just because they don't want to deal with the persecution of not being pale. So now is hate crimes. It doesn't even make sense. You're going to see an Asian person like, oh, that motherfucker is the reason why we have to wear a mask. They're the reason why we're oppressed in their mind. These motherfuckers are wild, man. Just who's stopping them? Like, they keep getting away with shit. Who's stopping these fools? And then, I mean, it's just all kinds of crazy crimes. So that Krispy Kreme, it was a fire that ravaged the whole building. It was two employees in there, no customers, but it was two employees in there, and I guess they were in the back and they were able to escape it. And yeah, it's the one on Ponce, it's the legendary one. I mean, that's pretty much the only one I've gone to. I've gone to the one at West End too, but the one that I am always familiar with is the one on Ponce, and that's the one that Shaquille O'Neal owns, Shackety Shack Shack. And somebody was shacked in a fool big time because the fire was ruled an arson. So, yeah, there's not much else there. It's just that, yeah, it was just that. I mean, it's gonna rebuild. I mean, especially because it's owned by Shaq, so it's gonna be rebuilt. It's gonna rebuild quickly for sure. Especially, there's a $10,000 reward for anyone who lets whoever the police know who committed the crime. So I wouldn't consider that snitching because I was wondering. I was like, was this one of those like, oh, insurance policy money, wink, but no, I guess people out here just really trying to burn buildings for no fucking reason. And it's a historic Krispy Kreme too, because it reportedly supplied 150 dozen. That's a lot. 150 dozen donuts. It was 1968 when they were participating in Martin Luther King's funeral procession. So yeah, that was they were feeding people during the movement. So, you know, Mark goes out to the employees who had to witness that shit. I know they were scared for their life. That's some scary shit. That's I'm blessed, you know. I mean, my heart goes out to anyone who's ever had to deal with that shit, because it ain't pretty. Before I go into this next topic, I just want to say that thank you all for rocking with me, because Amberland is officially 1 año, yay! Joyo anniversary. But yeah, it's been fun. I've been enjoying it. I've been enjoying the different components of what all I needed to do to make a podcast work, and I love that I have been playing my own sound engineer this whole time, and when I do this webcam, my own webcam engineer. Definitely don't consider myself a videographer, but it's been fun just doing something and letting loose what I want to talk about. But it's probably going to start being more organized in that. And I know I said this last season, but yeah, I am going to start bringing guests because it's going to be cool, because I got the bug in me, man. And also I miss doing interviews, so get my interview chops going. But yeah, it's been fun. Shout out to Anchor, man. Not the movie. Anchor, man. Because it's a really good platform. I really, really like it. I mean, it's been easy. You know, I have been thinking about doing Spreaker, SoundCloud, but I've done those before, and I don't know. I want to keep seeing what we got with Anchor, man. So, speaking of movies, kind of Anchorman, but not really. Coming to America, as in the sequel to the first one, which was the first one came out 33 years ago? Let's see. It was 88, right? Yeah, 33 years ago. Goddamn. I'm getting old. So yeah, I was 3 going on 4 when they came out. But I watched it a lot as a kid, and it's I mean, I've always wondered, like, I don't know. As a kid, I just was like, I don't know if this is supposed to be like this. But I just let it slide because I was like, oh, well, maybe I'm just coming from a different place because I was because I know what it's like to deal with colorism. But apparently, I was not wrong because Vanessa Bell Calloway, the one who is ordered to bark like a dog and hop on one leg with the long hair, and also noticed that a lot of the women that was just servicing him and brushed his teeth and all that also, yeah. And then the one woman that he was like, oh my god, this only one that matters is Lisa. And I think she's pretty. She got a big ass forehead, but who doesn't? I don't know. I take that back. I'm sorry, Lisa McDowell. But yeah, she, I did notice that in the movie how she, is put in a pristine light, and her sister, who is dark skinned, is like just super sex hungry and like they have her being primal like the women in Africa who were also seen as primal. So, but yeah, Vanessa Bell Calloway recently came out in an interview saying that she didn't audition for that role she got. She auditioned for the Lisa character and she got turned down, and she said it was because of colorism. And we saw her be ordered to bark like a dog and hop on one leg. So, but at the end of the day, we need to stop taking roles like that, because Leslie Jones talks about that too, like how she's always seen as always portraying, she's always offered the aggressive roles, and she's always having just looking like what you trying to say, like they always have her looking like that, all aggressive and shit. And it's like, yeah, I'm glad that you're raising awareness about this, but at the end of the day, there comes a responsibility where it falls on you, where you don't need to be taking them roles. Then, like, I understand taking a role to get your foot in. I totally understand that, and I understand growing from doing a role, like, cause I mean, I don't think Queen Latifah, if you asked her now, she was proud of doing Bringing Down the House. I doubt that she would say, yeah, I fucks with it. I mean, you haven't seen her do anything like that since, really. And I only saw the first episode of Equalizer, so I want to keep checking it out, see if it's cool. Because, I mean, that's just, it's a good role for her. And so that's my point. Like, you don't have to be bound by the roles that you are given. You can create your own roles, or you can just turn them down and find a way to get the roles presented to you, get the roles that you want presented to you. So I don't know what her character, Vanessa Bell Calloway's character, is going to be like in this sequel, but the sequel is tomorrow or today or whenever you are listening. It's March 5th. It's going to be released on Amazon Prime. Sure. I don't really care about the first one. And also, like, it's also the first film that John Landis directed after that horrible tragedy where two children and the main actor were decapitated for a Twilight Zone scene. Yeah, that was his first movie since he came back from that horrible. Yeah, look that up. I'm not even gonna waste my time talking about that. Just look that shit up. Just look up John Landis Twilight Zone, and you'll get all the information you need. But yeah, that was Eddie Murphy literally threw him a bone, saying, nobody's fucking with you in Hollywood, but here you go. So a black man gave a white man a chance to, and John Landis got more stuff since then. And then on top of that, I mean, I think that's his highest grossing film that he's ever done. So it's all because Eddie Murphy looked out for him. But I think they has like some beef after that, though. He redid Beverly Hills Cop. He did Beverly Hills Cop 3, 2. So yeah, Eddie Murphy stay giving them people a chance. He be giving a lot of people money, um, but that's gonna. But yeah, I guess it's gonna lead into my. I might as well just take it to the timeout. This is the timeout portion now, because that really is a good segue to what I want to talk about. So Black History Month ended, but that doesn't mean shit because it's forever Black History Month. We always talk of these facts, and I feel like I've talked about this before, but this topic again 2.0. We black people, we gotta stop being so forgiving. Like we gotta stop being so forgiving, and we have to be alert of the Judases in our circle, pretty much, because you look at history and you'll see like we got did, and yeah, white supremacy definitely had a major hand in the demise of, a lot of black leaders. But a lot of those moments, a lot of those tragedies wouldn't happen if it wasn't for us, our own kind, or, not all skin folk, it's kinfolk type shit. Yeah, being the Benedict Arnolds of being a traitor to the race. So it's a lot of that that happens, and I just feel like and what's annoying is that it's portrayed in popular culture like it's nothing. Like you look at Lion King or you look at Black Panther, it's like the enemy is within us. It's not like I don't know. It's getting really old, It's getting really old seeing the pick me type motherfuckers who are really still trying to get the seat at the table type. And they're not seeing, it's like, don't you see that you're perpetuating? Okay, I'm not going to say perpetuate. I'm going to say this. The one thing that these racist motherfuckers will always be, they're going to always compliment black people on is being a good black person, being one of the good ones. And that's because we put our humility on the sleeve. They know when, they grab themselves by the bootstraps and they did everything right. They never broke the law, this, that, and the third, and they don't make me feel threatened by their presence. Like, white motherfuckers are so obsessed with our humility. Like, you hear that shit all the time when you listen to, especially football. You just hear that he came from a single parent home, but he was raised well. Like, I remember I used to be, this is back when I just didn't do a good job at vetting. I'll put it this way, and this is just shout out to all my cancers out there. We gotta be better to ourselves, and by that I mean we gotta vet who we let in our lives, because we are probably the only sign that don't have any boundaries. And that's why everybody love our asses, because we be like, hey, it's okay, we like to hang and we like to please everybody and make everybody feel safe and at home. Nah, we need to stop doing that shit. We gotta be better at vetting. So that was a twofer with the the more you know PSA. Like, but also black people too. We gotta be better. We gotta be better vetters at who we invite in our circle, and we gotta stop using. I've said this before. We gotta stop using white men. The white man's Christianity that was taught. That was the same Christianity that was taught to slaves who crossed over in the Middle Passage, and they were baptized, and because they were all heathens, and because it's okay to enslave them. So we gotta stop that shit. We can't use that for excuse to mistreat each other either. So, but yeah, we gotta be better vetters, and I feel like that we need to stop having this big divide with class, because like the whole mentality of, well, we got out of the hood, that don't mean I gotta give back, or like Harry Belafonte telling Jay-Z that he got to be a better role model for the black community. And he said, well, they see me being successful. They see that I'm rich. That should be motivational enough. And that's kind of like the new, like, that's like the new Booker T versus W.E.B. Du Bois. It's like Booker T's like, look, not every black person want to go and get education past high school. Not everybody want to go to college. Not everybody want to get further education. You know, it's a lot of people. There's some people who want to, some, especially our people, some of us want to learn a trade, you know, be an electrician, be a plumber, be, you know, HVAC and all that. HVAC work like that, like, you gonna always stay busy. You gonna always have work. I mean, it's just, and I used to be anti Booker T stance. Like, what the fuck is this Uncle Tom motherfucker talking about? Even though it's like, what are you talking about, Amber? Why? Like, I was just so militant. I was like, no, man, Booker T didn't know what he was talking about. We all got to get this education. And I'm saying this shit because I knew I was going to college for free. If I was paying for college, I wouldn't be saying the same shit. But yeah, I mean, and it turns out, I mean, I got my degree in humanities. Like, I mean, film studies is part of humanities, but journalism is essentially a trade. It's an intellectual trade because that's good to know that I can go to a newspaper and I can start out at any position, you know, just because I have experience in it. But journalism ain't got experience in financials, because ever since, like, I've literally watched journalism, just like newspaper journalism, it just kept declining and declining, you know. And I ended up doing, I mean, restaurants is somewhat vocational, I guess, but I mean, I do know how to cook. But as far as dealing with the public, yeah, what does that fall under? You know, I know how to diffuse a situation. I guess I can be a cop. Anyway, but yeah, I do believe that we're just so critical of each other, like with women, you know, that with the movement of black feminism and how we don't consider like a Megan Thee Stallion or Amber Rose or I mean, it's so many of them. It doesn't matter. Or a stripper that you know, like how they won't be perceived as a feminist, but or worse, as someone that is worth being protected. It's like, yeah, well, black women want to be protected, but then they doing twerk videos. It's like you can do twerk videos and still get protected, or still ask for protection if you want. I mean, this is too much. It's too much mutual exclusivity. It's too much mutual exclusivity that's involved. Like, it's too much black and white. There's no gray area, and we need to start being kinder for the gray area. No, not kinder. We need to be more receptive and accepting of gray areas, because shit, man, we're humans. We just, like, we're happy to wake up every day, but then we got to figure out how to stay alive, you know, and how to stay out of trouble all the time, and how to be safe. And then we're in a pandemic too, so yeah, we just got to be more compassionate to each other, man. But yeah, also stop catering to the motherfuckers who oppress us, man. Stop like the whole humility obsession. Fuck that shit. They keep their head down and blah blah blah. I remember, that goes back to what the whole reason why I brought it up. I had an old friend that I ended up getting rid of like within months, but because some white people just really like having black friends to prove that they're not racist. So, and this person was one of them. And they were telling me how they hired somebody who was like, you know, we didn't know anything about him at first, because it's just, and they said that because they saw a tall black man. They're like, they automatically like, oh, we just didn't know what to think at first. But then he started interviewing us, and we were like, oh wow, he's so well spoken and so humble. And I was like, you know what? It's clear that your mama raised you right, so I'm gonna hire you. And it's like, who says that to someone, first of all? Second, why would that be grounds of hiring someone? And then on top of that, they gave them, gave him the dishwasher position, which is like, which hey, I mean, I respect every single position in any workforce, but you know, you knew this person had cooking experience, but you're like, nah, you can't be working with us on the line, but you can wash the dishes away from everybody else because your mama raised you right. You were so humble. It'd be shit like that. They be doing shit like that all the time and getting away with it. It's just so, but which is and that and I say that to bring up what I recently heard from the Barack Obama and Bruce Springsteen podcast, Renegades. Because Barack Obama, I mean, he gets all kinds of criticism from all of us, everybody to be talking shit about him. And it was really good to hear him talk about his experience dealing with racism. And he was talking about how in high school, it was at the basketball, I think it was basketball practice, because he said it was in the locker room and his teammate called him a coon. And he goes, look, ain't no coons in Hawaii. That's literally how he said it. He said, ain't no coons in Hawaii. So this kid knew that he could say a word that would offend me and it would also hurt me. And it also, and he's like, he didn't, it didn't matter that he grew up poor. It didn't matter that he was dealing with his own demons. It didn't matter that I was a good guy, I never did anything wrong to him. It didn't matter, none of that mattered. All that mattered was that he knew that I didn't look like you, and that's what's wrong with you. And it was just like, yeah, like it just be people who just thrown off just by our presence, and we end up catering to the same people just so we can make them feel comfortable. And it's like, why, man? I'm not saying go out. I'm not saying be like OG Black Panthers and start walking out with your piece out. I'm just saying, man, just be comfortable being you, because it's fucking wild right now. It's been wild, but it's getting Van Wilder. Like, I don't know, man. I like that I'm in Atlanta, but my heart goes out to the ones who are in rural places that can't escape this shit. I mean, I can't imagine being in Mississippi. Like, fuck that. I mean, maybe I should be more PC about it, but it's just never in a time in my life I was like, you know what? Mississippi. Let me see what they talking about. But yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up with the bow. So piggybacking on to what I was talking about with Coming to America. So if you notice, that movie is black as fuck. And then there's Louis Anderson, who's great, who's funny, but he really did stick out. And so, and that's probably the same reason why George Carlin was in Car Wash. Why homie from Drumline, little Italian buddy from Drumline, he was in Drumline, and they all said the same. Well, I don't know about Car Wash, but I know the director of Drumline, as well as Eddie Murphy, they both were saying that Hollywood said, yeah, this is great, but you need a white actor to view. We need something, because this is too black. I mean, that's pretty much. I mean, we just found out that it's like over 80 people in that whole society of writers for the Golden Globes. It's like over 80 people, and none of them are black. So who are we to be surprised by? I mean, this is not surprising anymore. So I'm just gonna end on how, and this is why I'm like, this is why I've always preferred indie films, and I'm glad that Barry Jenkins was able to, I mean, with Moonlight, it was beautifully black, and It's independent, and that's the thing. We got to figure out. Let's get back to figuring out our own way, because black exploitation, it pissed off a lot of black people, but it was still doing what it was doing, and I mean, and the whole point was to be unapologetically black and saying fuck whitey. So, but yeah, well, Hollywood is like, nah, we can't be having any of that. So, Murphy was saying that the studio was like, hey, there has to be a white person in the movie, and he was like, what? So they thought, who was the funniest white guy around? We knew Louis was cool, so that's how Louis got in the movie. And then Arsenio Hall said, it was official. I had a list. They gave me a list with 3 white guys. They said, who would you rather work with? I said Louis. So 33 years later, the truth comes out. I'm happy. Louis Anderson's great. So, but I always wondered that. I was like, why is he in this? And I thought it was interesting that they included Louis Anderson because he was bigger and he was loud, and he had that signature gap smile. So yeah, he was definitely less European looking. I'll put it that way, just like Carlin. So the white people that they do choose is like, well, let's get them as least European as possible. Anyway, I'm gonna go into the brick, and still white people behaving badly. Brick is definitely to Texas Governor Greg Abbott. So this is what this goofy dude said. He goes, Texans have mastered the daily habits to avoid getting COVID. He said effective March 10th, so next week, every business will be allowed to open at 100% capacity. Texas is the biggest state. Just keep that in mind. Make no mistake, COVID has not suddenly disappeared. COVID still exists in Texas, in the United States, and across the globe. That's my signature. I'm a dumb, goofy, racist politician voice. But it is clear from the recoveries, the vaccinations, the reduced hospitalizations, and the safe practices that Texans are using that state mandates are no longer needed. So he's saying that we cured, but not really. But really, we are. I don't care. Fuck them. I just don't want people to be comfortable with being alive anymore. I don't know. Like, what? 100% capacity? Texas, the biggest state. Half the state are still recovering from a deadly ass winter storm. Where I just heard of the news report saying that they got refrigeration trucks for bodies. So he's like, oh, well, this winter storm is not why we have bodies now. I mean, this COVID is not why we have these bodies now. It's a winter storm, so people can now go without masks and they can go to a bar. Whatever. Let's go to the switch because this is... All right, so LaMelo Ball is my switch because this is the All-Star break coming up. He's definitely the best rookie, which says a lot because Anthony Edwards, he's been balling too. And, excuse me. Yeah, Anthony Edwards at T-Wolves, he's been balling, and he did the dopest dunk on, he plays for the Raptors. Last name is Watanabe, and he's from Japan, and it doesn't matter what his first name is because his face was clean wiped off with Anthony Edwards' nuts because he dunked on his face hard. Like, that was the craziest posterization I've seen in decades. Like, seriously, like a really long time. Like, I mean, that was a Vince Carter type dunk. and he, like imagine a Vince Carter dunk and a Allen Iverson frame. So that shit was wild. It was amazing. And then also Tyrese Halliburton from the Kings. He's really good too. But LaMelo Ball's been going nuts, and like he's almost averaging. I mean, he's averaging 16 points, 6 assists, and 6 rebounds. And he be making them threes. He been crossing them balls. Like the ball movement of that kid is incredible. It's incredible. He knows where everyone's at. And it's just so funny because he talks the most shit. He was the least humble of the balls, and I see why. Stephen A. Smith played the shit out of Lonzo Ball. He's like, what we getting out of LaMelo Ball is what we were waiting for with Lonzo. It's like, no, a lot of people knew that Melo was the one that we were waiting on. But Lonzo's good, too. He been balling. But, yeah, LaMelo is, he's going to, he's like, I'll put it this way. And this is with a 20-year vet, Carmelo Anthony. Not 20-year, 18-year vet. So, after the Hornets played the Blazers recently, Carmelo Anthony and LaMelo Ball traded jerseys. That shit was the greatest sign of respect because Carmelo was, especially with they have the name Melo, they have that but also Carmelo was, he was just like LeBron James. It's just that he went to 1 year college and it was at Syracuse and he got them their one championship. So, Carmelo Anthony, he was in the same boat as LeBron, I would say, as far as accomplishments goes. But of course, Carmelo found a different path where, Nuggets Melo and then Knicks Melo too, but Nuggets Melo always going to be the best one to me. That was my favorite era of Melo. But all that to say, it was very it was symbolic and significant because Carmelo was in that same, he was right there in that same boat that LaMelo is now, like being a young prodigy type who just gonna continue to be a walking bucket. LaMelo's the shit. If y'all hadn't, it seems like I got league pass just so I can see Jazz play and the Hornets play. Like I've been seeing them play a lot. Yeah. And then on top of that, Melo is on my fantasy league, so I've really been he's been because his shooting percentage is good too. Like he's a bucket, man, and he's a passer like no other. Like I haven't seen anyone pass as well like him in a minute. The behind the back passes that he does, and it's just always accurate. So shout out to you, bro. All right, so I'm getting down to the wire. I'm going to zoom through these next few topics because I got to go to work. I had that night shift, so I'm going in, work for a few hours, and I'm going to bring my black ass home. Watch some more basketball before the All-Star break. So the highlight reel is Billie Holiday, the United States versus Billie Holiday. Audra Day was the reason why a lot of people, after seeing the movie, said they liked it. But then you think about the movie, it's like, But Audra Day killed that role, and she won the Golden Globe already, and I feel like she could win the Oscar. She fucking destroyed that role. She was so incredible. And that was her first acting role. And hearing her sing Strange Fruit was worth the wait in that movie because they alluded to it, of course, throughout the movie. But overall, though, it was still a Lee Daniels film, and that was the first Lee Daniels movie I've seen. I'm not really crazy about him. Didn't see Precious, and I did not see The Butler, so no. But it did show that the feds been on our asses since Jazz era. Harry R. Slinger, he just did not. That was like the original creator of War on Drugs, and he saw that jazz players he found out a way that a lot of jazz players got high on marijuana, so he was very anti-marijuana. Then when he found out that heroin was in play. He's like, oh shit, I gotta really get these guys. And he's like, these niggers think they can get away and live like just these niggers think they're not niggers. Like that's really what was upsetting him. It's like these people, they got intellect, they have talent. My wife loves Billie Holiday. Oh, I gotta get rid of this bitch. So it's been pretty much 2 decades trying to destroy her, and they ended up arresting her as she's dying. They pretty much the reason why she died because she was recovering well from methadone, and then they cut her off it, and so they just watched her die and then handcuffed her, and it's pretty fucked up, beyond fucked up. So that was a very upsetting thing to see. I mean, and just like Judas and the Black Messiah, it was black people working with the feds. For Billie Holiday too, I mean, all her lovers pretty much set her up. It was just, but I will say that this was better than Lady Sing the Blues because they painted her abusive husband as Billy D. Williams. So of course they were like, he can't be abusive, he too pretty, so let's just have him be a saint. That wasn't the case. So yeah, Billie Holiday was a very tragic figure, beyond tragic, and I feel like Audrey Day captured that really, really well. So I definitely recommend it just to see how she performed it. But yeah, don't expect it to be actually good. I mean, it's not bad, but it's also like, I'm going to do more reading about this and see what really happened. So, but yeah, the war on drugs was definitely for just black people. Because Judy Garland, during that era, she was high on pills and all kinds of shit. And Arslinger did not. He showed her nothing but compassion. Like they actually helped her get over the shit. Not really though, because in the end, but they really were helping her and compassionate towards her, as opposed to how they were with Billie Holiday, who literally watched her die so they can handcuff her and plant heroin on her on top of that. So yeah, and now they're doing that with rappers too. I mean, they keep listening to rappers' lyrics just so they can use them as a prosecution leverage. Like, meanwhile, you got rock stars like Keith Richards, who's a walking cocaine bag. He literally admitted to snorting his dad's ashes one time because he was just so high and he knocked over the urn, and he was like, "Oh man, what's this powder here? What's this mystery powder? I've never tried it," and sniffed them. So, yeah. And actually I saw oh my, what's that nigga name? Nobody Needs Nobody. Play It Fly. I remember him making an argument about how Eric Clapton's song Cocaine is literally just him talking about cocaine, and it's like, but when a rapper talk about it, it's a problem. And it's like, yeah, it's the same thing. There's always going to be a double standard. I will say that a bonus highlight reel is something that shout out to my old film professor from West Kentucky. He as I call him, the Ted. he recommended this film because her name is Martine Sims, and the movie is called Sweaters, Incense, and Ice, and it's really, really good. It's set in L.A. By way of Mississippi, and it's really well done. It's 69 minutes, huh? It's so an hour and 9 minutes. So it's very compelling and captivating. The camera work is awesome, and I just love how they handled the subject matter, and it was really delicate. It was a delicate lens, and it was just good to see a black woman be a black woman, but be a different type of black woman, with tattoos and piercings, and loves ramen, and loves going out dancing by herself, and loves, just doing things and making things happen. So, and also being a nurse in Mississippi. So, really, really good. So, also, I really recommend that. Sweaters, Incense, and Ice. And we in the overtime. I'm about to get on my grind. I'm about to make that money. Oh, yeah. Shout out to Bobby Shmurda. He out. He out the pins in early too, like months early. So, as you can see, I as you can see, a little bit of different here. I don't look like Lester from 227. I know. Only me. It's just me who was roasting myself. Because I was like, I mean, everybody knows what it's like, when you grow your hair out. And it's always that weird phase. So I was like, well, the the bottom part of my hair, it was long enough now. So let's go and get these braids in. And it, I've heard people say it takes like 8 hours and shit, but my homegirl, she been doing braids since she was 12, so she got that child labor ethic, work ethic. I'm like, damn, girl, she did that shit fast. So 6.5 hours later, but in the meantime of me getting the braids that we were watching the first 2 seasons of Insecure, they really, really wanted us to believe that Lawrence was a good dude, and I'm really glad that Tasha laid his ass out in the second season. She's like, you know what? You're a fuck nigga. No, you're worse than one. You're a fuck nigga who thinks he's a good dude. So that's going to always ring in my head. It's like, girl, you better get him. But I felt like the second season, like the writing was starting to go downhill, and it was getting a little too sensational for my liking. But I'm still going to support Issa Rae because I'm just happy for her, right? Representation. But at the same time, it's just kind of like, dang, man, Molly is never going to get it, huh? So it was cool to see that, rewatch that. I haven't watched them since 2016 and 17 when they respectively came out. And I was it was 4 years ago. I was just at a totally different mindset then. So now I'm just like, aw, look at them. Growth. I can just look at them and be like, oh, I can't relate to this at all, but I can laugh still. I still think that scene about that episode about giving head, it's like, this is such a 90s black woman conversation. Like, nah, girl, I don't be doing that shit. Like, I thought that's actually when the show started to go downhill. It's like, okay. Daft Punk, it's no longer playing at my house because 28 years after they formed, they have called it quits. So I never got to see them perform. It's okay. I thought they were cool. There's some songs that I really, really fuck with, like Face to Face. I really love Discovery. That's probably my favorite album from them. Homework is good. It has Around the World, which is my first introduction to them. That video is just, it's like, what? So they called it quits. Because, but hey, they've been, they never showed, they were always wearing helmets, so they were keeping it safe the whole time. They were literally ahead of the time the whole time, not with just their music. But yeah, shout out to Daft Punk. Oh, the Mortal Kombat trailer, I saw it. It's supposed to be coming out next month. Sure, I'll watch it. It's on HBO Max, so hey, I'm going to use that to my advantage, but I don't think it's going to be good. I just don't see it. But it was cool to see Melina in the preview. What about Jade, though? We're going to get some Jade. And I'm talking about Don't Walk Away Boy Jade with the Jodeci boots and the Dookie braids. I'm talking about Jade, who was she? Was she Melina and Katana's like long lost cousin or some shit? Because they're all in that same. It's like, no, I'm wearing Jade. She's wearing purple. She's wearing burgundy. It's like, all right, guys, who's whom? But yeah, Mortal Kombat might be good. I just don't think it will be, though. But hey, third time's a charm, I guess. All-Star Game. It's going to be this weekend. And actually, it's not even All-Star Game. It's not even All-Star Weekend. It's literally just All-Star Day, which is all on Sunday. All the events are happening. You got the Skills Challenge, 3-point challenge, and Slam Dunk Contest. And then there's the actual game, too, where they're going to do the draft of, like, it's kind of like, as my dad said, they're doing it like the Sandlot. Like, you choosing who you want on your team. It's like, well, yeah. I guess they're trying to make it interesting, but it's not, guys. It's not. But yeah, if you're interested in who's in the Slam Dunk, it's Anthony Simons, Cassius Stanley, and Obi Toppin. I was hoping at least Anthony Edwards was going to be in it. He's not. And then Damian Lillard just pulled out of the 3-point contest. So, but he's gonna participate in the All-Star game. So that'll be cool. So we got 3-point contest is Stephen Curry, Devin Booker, Donovan Mitchell, Jaylen Brown, Zach LaVine, and Jason Tatum. So Zach LaVine is bypassing in slam dunk because he already won, and he's gonna do 3-point contest. 3-point contest is actually gonna be the most exciting thing. Like all these players, it's gonna be fun. And then skills challenge, we got Robert Covington, Luka Doncic, Nikola Vucevic, Domantas Sabonis, Julius Randle, and Chris Paul. It's like, sure, that'll be fun too, I guess. I don't know. It's not. I'm more excited about these guys getting a break from the NBA because some of them only had like a 60-day break, and then a lot of them had like 180-day. But I don't think I'm gonna be watching. I might. I mean, it's Sunday. I'm off, so I don't see why not. The 3-point contest looks interesting as shit, and so is the skills challenge. We shall see. In the meantime, guys, there is no meantime. Nah, I'm out of this joint. I really enjoyed this episode because I've been missing y'all, and yeah, I need to get back. It's not twice a month. That just happened to be that way, so I will get back on schedule next go around. So y'all will see me within a week, sooner rather than later. Yay! So enjoy the rest of your week, and then I'll holler at y'all later. Okay? And yeah, keep your ears peeled for more info about me doing more stand up. Go to amberisweird.com. That is where I do all my updates. And yeah, shout out to my homies at Wash God, Sean and Draft. They have been killing it with the content. I think their 50th episode happened after my last podcast. So shout out to them, especially for them crossing the 50th episode boundary. That's really awesome. Here's to Fitty-Mo and Fitty-Mo and Mo. So yeah, y'all check them out on all the platforms, and then also on YouTube, because they also have really great audio and video, thanks to their videographer Taji, who also did my photo shoot, and as well as the logo, essentially, or the original photo of that logo that Morbid James did. I'm doing a lot of shout outs because it's been a while, man. Also, shout out to as far as podcasts go, to my homegirls, 2 chicks from Zone 6. They I always enjoy I love their banter. It's Tiffany and Crystal. Crystal recently had a birthday, so happy birthday, girl. Yeah, and shout out to all y'all doing y'all thing, for real, man. Like, y'all keep me motivated. Hopefully we can keep each other inspired as well. I'll holler at y'all later, man. Holler.